finish.
A slow start for the Kings. They didn't get a shot on goal for about 5 minutes of this period. The first 5 minutes of the period with a power play added in that time. Luke Robitaille's 7th goal of the playoffs and 3rd of this series has tied it up.
Now the play in the King zone. Wayne Gretzky able to flip it back to center. Oilers shoot it back in and Robinson to play it. Robinson cleared it to the far side. Kudelski able to send it to center ice. Muni got bumped by Granato, who flipped it over the line. Then Kudelski looked for Gretzky, but the ever-present Esa Tikkanen, shadowing the great one, picked that one off. And Tikkanen got it to Lowe over the line. He dropped it to the far side. The Oilers shoot it in deep. Messier in the corner, trying to slip it in front, picked off by Granato, who shot it to center ice, and Huddy pounds it right back in. Robinson to Ellick on the move at center. Todd Ellick in on McIver, trying to center it. It hits a couple of skates and winds up on the stick of Klima. He races back the other way. Klima with a long shot. Rudy got a piece of that with a right pass. And Taylor bounced it loose to McSorley, clearing to center and Robitaille. Beating Ellick over the line. Todd Ellick trying to drop it to Benning. That pass didn't click. Oilers move back offensively. Simpson got it over the line. McIver on the far side, in on Benning, who knocked him off the puck in the corner. Then they slug back and forth. And the play continues as the puck trickles free to center ice. Now a big pile up on the near side. And we got a scrap in front of the LA bench, but the puck is still in play as Simpson jams it loose. Got it to the line, slipped it to Klima. He cuts in. Klima, the shot. Rudy, the save. And he holds on. We pause for a regional break. 11 and a half to go in the third. It's 3-3.
Planning. Where'd I get the capital to start this business with my daughter? By investing for the long haul. And forget full commission brokers. I called Charles Schwab. Munis, mutual funds, blue chips, and I saved plenty with Schwab's low commissions. Every day I tell my daughter, think long term. Make your own decisions. Be your own man.
For a free Schwab Fact Kit, call toll-free 800-841-0300.
Kelly Rudy keeps it a 3-3 game. Peter Klima breaking in all alone. Rudy gave up a soft goal, the first goal of the game against at 8:29 of the first period on a long Kevin Lowe shot. But since that time, he's made not a lot of saves, but some key saves. Only 23 shots against, 23 to 22 shots on goal. And the shot total diminishing with each period.
Blake sends it around the board. Jones couldn't clear it. Back into the corner. Semenoff bumping for it there, and now the Kings able to get it back into the Oiler end. Steve Smith on it for Edmonton. Gave it to Jeff Bokaboom. Now Semenoff putting Smith to center, pushing it in there, and Steve Duchesne back. Graves in hot pursuit, but Duchesne feeds Gretzky. Long feed to center and Kudelski, and it's just barely offside as a two-line pass. And for those who have been critical of Wayne Gretzky in the past for being a bit of a cherry picker and not getting back into his own zone, he's in a tight game here. He's been back deep into his own end several times already here in the third period.
Whatever it takes. This King team has been very disciplined all year. They've had everybody back in deep. They've cut down their goals against, and that's one of the reasons they very rarely leave their zone before the puck does, and that's the key to defensive success.
Here's the draw right to Lowe with a long shot that doesn't get through. McSorley got a bump in the corner. Several players in there, and the Kings dig it loose. Larry Robinson, 3-on-3 to center. Robinson trying to go coast to coast. As he cut in there, a diving poke check, then Robinson got it back centering. That's picked off by Teakin and then came back to Robinson. His shot. McTavish got in the way of that. And now the Oilers try to start away. Here's Murphy. Joe Murphy over the LA line. Moves in, shooting. Big save by Rudy as Murphy undressed the King defenseman. And now the puck cleared back to center. Now bouncing back into the King zone, Robinson had it taken away, and then he gets it back as he stole it from Anderson, who was flying. But Robinson calming the Kings down, now feeding McSorley. McSorley to Gretzky over the line. He slipped it to Robitaille in the play. Is ruled to be offside.
Well, Joe Murphy's been used sparingly. He's coming off his finest season ever in the league, 27 goals. He had been playing center on the line, and Semenoff took his place in Game 7 because he had the flu, but Murphy undresses the defenseman. McSorley puts it through his legs, get the shot away, and Rudy, another good save.
We're halfway through the third period. It's 3-3 here in the Great Western Forum, and Kelly Rudy continues to sparkle in the LA net.
He made a good save on Lamb right off the bat early in the period. Made a good save on Klima and an excellent save there on Joe Murphy.
Now Benning knocked down at center. And a couple of players hit the deck and fall on top of the puck. If you happen to miss it earlier, the St. Louis Blues captured Game 2 in their series, beating Minnesota 5-2. For St. Louis, Butcher, Brindamore, Oates, Brown, and Sutter scored the goals, and Minnesota got strikes from Gavin and Bellows. 5-2, St. Louis over Minnesota to tie up that series at a game each. Brian Benning puts it around the boards and slides free back into the Edmonton zone. Huddy with Robitaille chasing him. Robitaille plays the man, allowing Ellick to play the puck. Then he got a rough ride from Simpson in the corner. Ellick trying to jam it out. He did. Now Robitaille against Simpson. Got it to Ellick behind the net. Ellick centered one right to the doorstep, and Fuhr covered it before Taylor could hack it in. And a big scuffle now around the Oiler goal.
Dave Taylor is not afraid to mix it up, and he'll take a hit to make the play, and he got pounded as he tried to stuff it.
9 minutes to go in the third. Edmonton 3, Los Angeles 3.
Still a lot of time remaining, 9 minutes and 13 seconds in a 3-3 game. The Oilers have played 3 straight overtime games, the last 2 in their series against Calgary, and the first one in Game 1 here against LA. They're not any strangers to that type of situation. 22 times they've played in overtime situations in the playoffs.
McTavish on for the draw in the defensive zone for the Oilers. He squares up with McIntyre. And now Tonelli and Bokaboom have a problem along the boards. Wayne Bonney there in a hurry to step in between. And Dennis Morrell trying to calm that situation down.
Bokaboom. It's taken some time for him to learn the intricacies of playing defense in the National Hockey League and playing with this Oiler club, but he's had a strong playoff and a good solid year. No frills type play from Bokaboom. Very physical.
Here's the draw. Quick shot and a save by Fuhr as Donnelly got to that puck first. Now Donnelly in the corner. He gets knocked down. And the puck squirts free behind the net to McTavish. Greg McTavish cleared it to center. Semenoff whacks it in. Fans hollering as Tonelli was knocked down in front of the net, but the play continues. As it's cleared to the neutral zone, and Muni got it to Jelena, who bangs it in. Steve Duchesne back for the Kings. Banks it to John Tonelli. He's knocked down by a good hit from Graves. Back come the Oilers. A quick shot by Semenoff and a save made by Rudy. Donnelly starting back. Rolls it down into the Oilers zone, and there's going to be an icing call against the Kings as Donnelly, or I should say Tonelli, collides at center with Graves. And now Big gathering in the neutral area, but the officials able at the moment to keep everybody apart.
Well, what a shift for John Tonelli. He does battle with Bokaboom from the face-off in the Oilers zone, then goes to the front of the net, gets involved with Bokaboom, and then Bokaboom goes off, and then Tonelli gets run over by Graves, and they go at each other after the whistle with 8:24 to go. Well, John Tonelli's made his living by just grinding it out along the boards and in the corners and in front of the net. Take a hit and give a hit. And Bokaboom got involved in the face-off circle, and then as the play continued on, Bokaboom knocked Tonelli to ice and then fell on top. And that brought Tom Webster to the bench screaming at Morrell for a penalty call.
Now Mark Lamb on for the Oilers. On with Klima and Tikkanen, McIntyre, Kudelski, and Gretzky for the Kings.
Well, we talked about Tonelli and Bokaboom. Meanwhile, Graves catches Tonelli with his head down, and Tonelli's got to be one tired player. Up and down, up and down.
And at the end of that shift, he got Graves back, who was coming on a change and starting to relax, and Tonelli ran him down at center ice and delivered a hit. Now the draw. Tikkanen chopped it behind the net, taken by Robinson. Larry Robinson. Now looking for McIntyre, who leaves it in. Here come the Kings. Over the line, Kudelski and on Muni, got around him, cuts in, shoots off the side of the net. Rebound in behind, and Muni gathers it in for the Oilers. 8 minutes remaining in the third period. This game even at 3. Here's Blake for the Kings. Was stopped by a much smaller Lamb, and the Kings forced to dump it in. Taken by Charlie Huddy. And now it's taken to center by Tikkanen. Tees up a long shot. Rudy stopped it, gave a rebound, but Robinson there first. And Larry Robinson cleared it to center, and Taylor. Taylor gets in over the line. Taylor on the right side, turns in the corner, then he went down on the boards and cleared to center where McSorley puts it back in. Now he tried to catch Fuhr vacating. He came to Taylor, a shot. Big shot blocked by Huddy, and the puck deflects over the glass into the crowd. We've seen it several times in earlier playoff series. We haven't seen it yet in the first 2 games here, Dale, where a defenseman looking as if he's going to dump it in, tries to catch the goaltender leaving prematurely. McSorley did that just there.
With the extra foot from the goal line to the end boards, now the goaltenders have to cheat a little bit if they want to stop the dump around. And a lot of times they've been caught with a fake dump around. They move out of the net, and then the shot comes towards the net, and they have to hustle to get back. And McSorley very nearly caught Fuhr cheating out of the net. Dave Taylor with a good shift and a good chance, but a little hesitation, wanted to slap it, change his mind, and then in the process it allowed Huddy to block the shot and deflect it high into the crowd.
The series shifting to Edmonton on Monday night. Game 3 there Monday, Game 4 on Wednesday, then back here to the Forum in Los Angeles the next Friday night. Here's the draw taken by Benning with a long shot through a scramble. Fuhr stopped a rebound. Cleared in behind. McTavish has it there. McTavish cleared it to the far side, and Messier puts McTavish to center. Here's a 3-on-2. McTavish over the line, left it. Here's a shot. Semenoff shot deflected up off the glass. And Benning picks it up for L.A. Clearing it out to center. It hopped over a stick. Robitaille's going to get there. And Robitaille moves behind the goal. Took a bump from Huddy. Robitaille trying to get away from him in the corner. He does. Robitaille centered one. A shot saved by Fuhr on Tonelli. Rebound cleared to center ice. Now Norm McIver. He got bumped by Donnelly, but shot it to the King line. Here's McIntyre. Lost it at center, but carried on by Duchesne. Rolled it over the line, Donnelly. Donnelly with a wrist shot and a save by Fuhr with the glove, and he holds on, and then Bokaboom pushing a couple of King players into Fuhr. who clearly wanted a whistle, but it was his own defenseman that created a problem for him. We have 6 minutes to go in regulation time. It's 3-3 in the Forum.
Grant Fuhr gloved the long shot, held on, and then Brad Jones came crashing into him. Fuhr put the glove in his face, and then both of them leveled Donnelly into the crease, knocking Fuhr down, and then a bunch of players milling around, a lot of conversation. Messier and Jones having a heated discussion. When Mark Messier was flying in game one, everyone said that maybe it was his best game in the playoffs. Tonight he's been a non-factor, really has not had a great night for the Oilers. Now a lot of extracurricular nonsense going on with every face-off and stoppage in play. Sticks coming up and gloves coming up. Players getting testy with a 3-3 game. The Oilers obviously need to win. The Kings trying to hold on to home ice advantage with a 1-0 lead. And now we're having a lot more difficulty getting straightened out on face-off situations by both clubs.
Jones and McTavish for this one. And Grant Fuhr covers it up. We'll line up and do it again. Jones, McIntyre, and Donnelly on for the Kings. Greg McTavish on with Tikkanen and Anderson for the Oilers.
Kings utilizing three of their young role players. Donnelly and Jones and McIntyre are very aggressive young people and not offensively that skilled, but they get the job done. These are the types of players that the Kings were lacking in their lineup for years, and they finally have gotten good solid role players to go along with their fine offensive talent.
Now the draw. Flip toward the side of the net. Bouncing puck there. Everybody hacking at it. The Kings able to control. McIntyre in the corner against McTavish. Kicks it loose. Moves in front. Yet it was stopped there by Bokaboom. Now McIntyre again works the corner boards. Gets help from Donnelly, who centers. Fuhr blocked the pass, and it's deflected to the center ice area. And the Kings dump it back in. Quickly out comes Smith. His pass winds up deep in the LA zone, taken by Robinson. Larry Robinson chipping it in there. Grant Fuhr looking for Klima, but it's held in by Benning. A long shot. Owen Fuhr just scurried back to the net in the nick of time, but the shot sailed wide, and here's Muni for the Oilers. Greg Muni clearing it out to center. Now Lamb got away from a check, steps over the line. Mark Lamb put it in behind the net. Klima after it there, but was beaten to the loose puck by Granato to Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky's pass deflects in the neutral area. And now it bounces around at center to Granato. Tony Granato hits the line, trying to go around a check, and Muni with a hip check. Knocks him down. Kudelski held it in and lost the handle, and Muni cleared it not out. Held in by Blake, moving in, fakes the shot, gets two men down, takes a look, put it in behind Gretzky to Kudelski shooting. The shot is blocked as the Oilers are scrambling in their own zone. Now at the line, Benning gave it to Gretzky in the deep slot, kicks it to the stick, and then headed poke check back to center ice. It's dumped in. Now we got a problem off the play as Lamb gets tangled with Granato. And Blake now joining in there with Muni. And pushing and shoving. Now a couple of men hit the deck as low. And Kudelski had one another in a headlock. And Dennis Morel standing back having a look at all these developments well after the whistle had sounded. And we'll have several penalties coming up here with 4.5 minutes left in regulation time. It's Los Angeles 3 and Edmonton 3.
Only two penalties after this mess. Lamb and Granato, the second time they've had altercations in this game. Penalties coming at 15:32. In the last couple of shifts, the Edmonton Oilers back on their heels in their own zone was floundering. That last particular shift, Rob Blake had 2 Oiler players diving at a fake shot. He moved in, and then Kevin Lowe made a good shot block in front of the net. Godelski was the one who scored on a screen shot when Smith slid in front of it at 1940, and he had the same type of shot with Lowe in front of him and didn't get it up high enough. Brian Benning with a couple of good chances late in this period too. Just moved to the middle of the ice, snapped the wrist shot, and Fuhr picked it up when it was halfway there and then made an excellent save on a dangerous shot.
Back to the play as Robinson has it at center. Gets to the line. Larry Robinson takes a look, shooting. Fuhr stopped. He gave a rebound. It trickled just wide. Messier couldn't get it out. Coming to the near side. Taylor hacked it loose behind the net. McIver on it for the Oilers. Up the middle to Messier. Robinson has him well covered at center. Ellick poked it free. Taylor over the line. Lets it go up off the glass. Coming to the near board is Anderson. And he backhands it back to center ice. You're joining us late wondering why you haven't heard the name of Thomas Sandstrom. He left this game with a knee problem. Was hit awkwardly and has a knee injury. He's been taken for observation as Robitaille shoots one high. And back come the Oilers. Tikkanen to Simpson. Over the line to Anderson. Moving to the corner. Or Semenoff that was, who centered one. It's picked off, but Bokaboom lets it go. And it deflects up over the glass and into the crowd.
The first time in a long while the Oilers have had any kind of chance at Kelly Hrudey. They had some good chances early in the period, 4 or 5 quality chances in the first half, but the Kings have really come on. They've tied it up and they've put a lot of pressure on the Oilers, who seem to be tired and in a defensive posture. They're backing in. And 3 shots in a row now fired by the Kings against Grant Fuhr, and all of them high. Larry Robinson with a coast-to-coast move and a high wrist shot, and then 2 shots right after that just shot over the net. Fuhr standing up more than I can remember. He's not going down as much.
Now ready in the Los Angeles zone, McIntyre and McTavish. And the draw bouncing around finally came loose in front. Tikkanen chasing after it. Got it to Klima. His wrist shot and a save made by Hrudey. Rebound control by the Kings. McIntyre clearing to center. Here comes Duchesne. Duchesne hits the line, mishandled it, and it's cleared back to the neutral area. 3 minutes left in regulation time in a 3-3 game. Now in the Los Angeles zone, Duchesne sends it up the far side to Jones, who's passed to Flex in the neutral zone. And now Klima just peels off and heads for a change, leaves the puck there. The Kings dump it ahead to Gretzky. In on low. Gretzky trying to center it, and Muni there to pick it off. Now Graves got it out to center ice. Here comes Tikkanen over the line. Tees up a long shot. It deflects way up over the glass and into the crowd. And now sticks and elbows get raised again as the whistle sounds. It's happened in game 1 too, Dale. The longer the game went, it seemed the chippier it got, and it's happening here in game 2 also.
Well, that's the Tikkanen, obviously the target of many of the Kings. He's been a target by most players in the league. Tikkanen's been a very chippy player throughout his career. He's an aggressive player, and he let the long slap shot go. It was deflected, and after the shot deflected into the seats, Brian Benning gave him a shot, knocking his helmet off, and that's not a normal Brian Benning move.
We mentioned that the Kings playing for the most part in this game without Thomas Sandstrom, who's been taken to the hospital after suffering a knee injury earlier. They never did have the services of Steve Kasper in this game. He suffered a concussion in game 1 of the series. And that's a big loss for Los Angeles. He's been having a terrific playoff, Kasper has. Meanwhile, on the other side, a lift for the Oilers, who have Kevin Lowe able to play tonight, and Joe Murphy also returned after both those players missed the opener of the series. Now in the neutral area, McSorley whacked at it, came right back to him, and he flipped it over the line. Here's Ellick to the corner, centering. Semenoff back defensively to steal it. Cleared it to the far side, and Now the Oilers' Graves works his way to the Los Angeles line. Adam Graves moved in. Had it hacked off his stick by McSorley and cleared to center ice. 1:40 left in the third period. Here's Graves teeing it up. Shoots at a bouncing puck. It deflects right to Smith. He couldn't corral it. Here's a chance for the Kings. Over the line they come. Here's a drive, and it's shot wide by McSorley, coming to the near side, betting a shot, and he hacked that wide of the net. Into the corner it goes. Gretzky gets knocked off his feet by Smith. Then it's dug out. Robitaille centered one, bouncing in the slot, and the Oilers able to clear it back to center. Now Gretzky's pass is picked off, and he gets it back. Gretzky took a bump from Tikkanen, but flipped it to the Oilers zone.
1 minute remaining in the
Cleared
third
right
period.
back to center as we go to the final minute of regulation time, and here's an offside call against Los Angeles.
We talked about Semenoff having a good night with a goal and assist. He's also been very efficient in his own zone. Good read by Semenoff to get back and deep in his own zone to help and read the diagonal pass from the corner. Meanwhile, Wayne Gretzky worked over again by Steve Smith, not allowing him to get out of the offensive zone as the puck was in the neutral zone. The Kings couldn't get in to set up. Good smart play by Smith to tie up Gretzky, not allow him to get back into the flow.
Great one. Gretzky held off the score sheet so far in game 2 after getting 2 helpers in the opener of this series. The play now in the Edmonton zone. On the far side, a long shot. Shot wide by Kadelsky. It's clear. It winds up back at center ice on the stick of Messier. Messier had it taken away by Granato, and he knocked Granato down. They holler for a penalty, and they are not going to get one here in Los Angeles as it's cleared to the Los Angeles line. Half a minute left in the third.
Well, the Oilers get away with one there. That should have been a penalty. Messier coughed it up and he hooked them down.
15 seconds left. Here come the Kings. In over the line. Kadelsky, his shot is blocked, and it's underneath the Oiler defenseman, and the whistle sounds with 11 ticks left, and Dennis Morel has the raspberries cascading down on him.
Craig Muni with a good shot block. Muni's been a terrific defenseman for this Oiler club. In the last 5 years, he's been a plus 152. And the fans are upset, and rightfully so. Messier coughed it up, had it taken away by Granato, and then he hooks Granato. Granato goes down, and no penalty call with 11 seconds now left. And Dennis Morel, a bit of a grin on his face, getting a lot of conversation from Wayne Gretzky and the rest of the Kings, and Tom Webster doesn't look like he's too happy with his hands on his hips.
Well, now an important face-off in the Edmonton zone will take place right in the deep slot. Now we need a little ice repair in the Oiler end. Oilers trying to steal away home ice advantage. Each team has had the lead. If you joined us late, Los Angeles' Todd Elliott scored at the 13-second mark in this game. The Oilers then scored 2 in a row to grab the lead. And they played seesaw all the way through the first 2 games of this series. Now it's 3-3 with 11 seconds left in the third period. Alec and McTavish for this draw, which Alec wins. The Robinson fires. He just missed the near post. It bounces back in front. Robitaille, shot is blocked. Rebound. Hacked at in front of the net. Here's a shot. McSorley's drive block. Now again he shoots. Muir stops it. And we go to extra time in game 2. A furious finish to the third period. That first shot from Robinson seemed to hit the end boards in a crazy way, and nobody could locate it. It was well up into the air and finally landed right outside the goal crease.
Grant Fuhr was fully extended. He couldn't stretch his legs any further out to get the save. It deflected off the glass, up in the air and out in front of the net. Du Robitaille got a shot away, and they had it deflect into the corner.
13 shots on goal for Edmonton, for LA in the third period. Their total is 33 for the game. Edmonton with 9 shots, and their total is 28. through 60 minutes of play. The only goal of the third period was scored by Luke Robitaille, who's been a major factor in this series for the Kings. Robitaille from Donnelly gets the tying goal at 6:32 of the third. That's the reason we'll be going to extra time after we pause for a regional break.
And we welcome you back to our studios in New York. I'm Bob Papa. Edmonton's playing. Yes, we have overtime. Tied at 3 at the end of regulation between the Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. Things much simpler in the Norris division tonight. The St. Louis Blues evened up their series with the Minnesota North Stars. We take a look at the action at the St. Louis Arena. And we pick it up just 26 seconds into the first period. Minnesota's Stu Gavin drives around the net, wraps it home, 1-0 North Stars. 40 seconds later, the Blues will tie it up. Garth Butcher picks up a loose puck in front, and he'll tie the game up at 1. There's Butcher. He beats Casey. 1-1 the score. Midway through the period, Minnesota will take the lead. Bobby Smith centers for a wide-open Brian Bellows. Thinks, flips, scores. 2-1 North Stars in front, right over the glove side. Second period, the Blues will get a break. Mark Bureau will kick in the puck. Watch it right here. It's in the crease, and he kicks it right into the net. Shades of Steve Smith of the Oilers. 2-2 is the score. The Blues took the lead early in the third. Adam Oates picks up Brett Hall's rebound. He will put it in. 3-2. Blues are in front. And the final score, St. Louis 5, Minnesota 2. They slugged it out near the end of the game. Game 3 slated for Monday night in Minnesota. When we come back, we'll take a look at overtimes. The Edmonton Overtime Oilers after this timeout on Sports Channel America. Welcome back to our New York studios. Edmonton and Los Angeles tied at 3 at the end of regulation. There have been a lot of overtimes in the Smythe Division playoffs alone so far. There have been 6. Let's take a look back at the ones involving the Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. Game number 2, Kings and Canucks. Wayne Gretzky with the game winner at the Great Western Forum. Game number 3, Kings and Canucks, as Gretzky puts on a celebration. That evens the series at 1. Off to Vancouver we go. Cliff Ronning will get the goal as he beats Kelly Rudy. Another overtime. Game number 6, we take you now to the Calgary Flames and the Edmonton Oilers. Theo Fleury on the breakaway, his first goal of that series. And look at this celebration. Theo Fleury with probably the best celebration of the 1991 playoffs. Game number 7, Flames and Oilers. Esa Tikkanen gets the goal, beats Mike Vernon. That sends Calgary home to play golf, and it advances the Edmonton Oilers. And what do they have in their first game against the Kings? Luke Robitaille will get the game winner as he beats the goalkeeper, Bill Ranford. Now, you're wondering about consecutive games. Edmonton playing in their 4th consecutive overtime game. Well, our crack producer Vic Morin has gone back into the NHL annals, and we take you to the 1951 Stanley Cup Finals between the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs. All 5 games went to overtime, and the late Bill Barilko of Toronto, you see him falling down, beats Montreal goaltender Jerry McNeil in game number 5, the 5th straight overtime game in that series, and it gave Toronto the 1951 Stanley Cup. One other note, in 1982, there were 16 overtimes in the playoffs. So far in the 1991 Stanley Cup playoffs, we already have 12 overtime games. You talk about punching the clock for a little OT, the Edmonton Oilers lead the NHL. More of the 1991 Stanley Cup playoffs as we roll on from New York after this timeout. Welcome back to our New York studios. For those of you on the East Coast and those of you on the West Coast, you know Sunday night we'll continue our coverage in the Wales Conference. How about the Campbell Conference once they finally wrap up this game in Los Angeles? Monday night, game number 3, the North Stars and Blues from the Met Center in Minnesota. That series is tied up at 1 game apiece, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Check your local listings. And then the Kings and Oilers will be joined in progress, and we will move out to the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, where the Kings and Wayne Gretzky will skate against the Edmonton Oilers Monday night, the Smythe Division Finals, game number 3. Well, the Los Angeles Kings and the Edmonton Oilers are tied up at 3 apiece at the end of regulation. Pat Foley and Dale Talon are standing by, and they are ready to call the overtime action. And it should be interesting to see, gentlemen, how the Edmonton Oilers will be able to stand up playing their 4th consecutive overtime game. Psychologically, what does that do for them?
Well, that's a good question, Bob. As a former player, 4 in a row in overtime, how does that affect the road team tonight?
Well, it's just a matter, I don't think mentally it has anything to do with it, but I think physically they showed a lot of fatigue in the second half of the third period. They had dominated early in the third, were in control of the game, and then all of a sudden, once Robitaille scored, they were back on their heels. They looked very tired, and they looked like they were in a defensive posture. And I think that you can look to the Kings to start early here in this overtime to put more pressure on them to try and get it over with early.
Well, not only, of course, the 4 straight games in overtime, but the fact that the Kings have really, or the Oilers have not had any break at all, going 7 in the first round, and just an every other day situation here in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs for Edmonton, and they really showed the ill effects in that third period. They were really floundering toward the end.
Well, as I said, Rudy made some key saves early, but the Kings came on and really dominated the last half of the third period. They looked like they were more rested, and they looked like they had a jump, and they looked like they were more positive besides.
Edmonton had the lead in the third period. Let's take a look, though, at the tying goal, and Luc Robitaille, what a series he's having.
Well, they got a nice feed from Donnelly, and he was wide open. He moved in, never once looked at the puck. He just looked at Fuhr in the net the whole time. Fuhr was moving well to the net, didn't play the angle properly, and when you're moving forward, it's hard to move laterally. He wasn't stopped, and Robitaille buried it, and Robitaille continues his fine play. 3 goals in the series up till now.
Next goal wins. We'll have overtime after this.
Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game on Sports Channel America is brought to you by Mercury. See the exciting new line of 1991 Mercury automobiles at your Lincoln Mercury dealer. Nothing moves you like a Mercury. By Labatt's Blue, the crisp, clean taste of Canada's best beer. Between friends, it's True Blue, Labatt's Blue, and by Prudential. Come to the companies of the Prudential and build your future on the rock.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Sports Nightly. I'm CJ Papa. The mailman delivers in Utah, the Golden Bear stomps the Seniors, and the Rocket is pointed north. The NFL draft is just hours away, but Notre Dame's Raheem Ismail reportedly is close to signing a blockbuster 5-year, $20 million contract with Toronto of the Canadian Football League. The Rocket added fuel to the fire by attending the Kings-Oilers hockey game tonight. The Kings are owned by Bruce McNall, the same man who owns the Toronto Argonauts with Wayne Gretzky and actor John Candy. The Argos' latest contract offer reportedly includes a condo in Los Angeles and a skybox at Toronto's Sky Dome. In the season's first week, the seas were too rough for the Mariners, but it seems that these sailors have begun to chart a new course for the summer of 1991. Seattle's riding the wave of a 4-game winning streak. At the Kingdome against mighty Oakland tonight, Dave Henderson will hit a home run here. Boom! Hits it high and deep to left field. And Henderson with a home run. Dennis Eckersley, we move to the 9th inning. He doesn't get a batter out. And Eckersley blows the save. The home run there. Scott Bradley with a hit. And Seattle stuns mighty Oakland tonight. 3-2. 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth makes Eric Hansen a winner. He's now 4-0 lifetime against the A's. He had 10 strikeouts. At Comiskey, the question was, would Chicago score? Top 7, the game is scoreless, but Andy Allenson changes that in a hurry. He drills a fastball to center. That scores Mickey Tettleton. It's 1-0 Detroit. Bottom of the inning, at Dan Pasqua makes history by knocking in the first run ever scored by the White Sox at the new ballpark. Game tied at 1. In the first extra inning game at Comiskey, Tony Phillips bounced one to left. John Shelby stumbles home. The Tigers lead it 2-1. They hold on for the victory. Detroit wins it in 12 innings, 2-1. Mike Henneman now 2-0. Scott Radinsky 1-1. The Tigers have won 4 straight. Sox are 0-2 at the new Comiskey, and they have scored 1 run in 21 innings. Minnesota has now lost 7 in a row. California gets them 2-1. The Angels have now won 12 of the last 17 versus the Twins. For the past 15 years, Nolan Ryan has had his share of bad luck in the Charm City. The 44-year-old had not won in Baltimore since May 18th, 1975. But today, Ryan broke through by beating those Birds. At Memorial Stadium, Ryan fans 10 for the 208th time in his career. Here he gives Craig Worthington a ticket to the bench.
And the lone run for Ryan came on a sacrifice fly. Rafael Palmero hits it to left, and Gary Pettis scores. Texas wins this one 1-0. Ryan ends a personal 7-game losing streak in Baltimore. While Ryan K-10, Kansas City's Tom Flash Gordon KO'd the Yankees. Gordon struck out a career-high 13 in 7 shutout innings. So far, the Royals' offense is having problems producing runs, but Kirk Gibson did his part with this frozen rope that just makes it over the wall and right. It's Gibson's 3rd dinger of the year. Kansas City goes on to win it 5-2. Jeff Montgomery got the final 2 outs of the game for his 4th save. Jimmy Key worked 7 innings for his 3rd straight win as Toronto beats Milwaukee 4-2. The Jays are 5-1 versus the Brewers this season. Just over 9,000 fans showed up in the rain to watch hometown Indians lose to Boston 2-1. 35-year-old Greg Harris pitched 6 shutout innings for his first win of the year. Cleveland's team batting average now is whopping 187. In the National League, San Diego isn't used to occupying first place. So after a fantastic first week, the Padres seem to be settling into their usual spring-fall. The Padres have lost 3 of 4. Top of the 6th, LA already up 2-1. Jeff Hamilton singles in Eddie Murray. And it's 3-1 Dodgers. Bottom of the 7th, LA up 3-2. Paul Ferries triples to left center field. 2 runs come around to score, and the Padres lead it 4-3. San Diego doesn't waste any time. The next batter, Tony Fernandez, singles in Ferries, who trots home. It's 5-3. That was the margin of victory for San Diego. Anderson gets the win. He's 1-0. Belcher takes the loss 2-1. Socia had a home run. Tom Browning owns the Braves. The lefty runs his record against Atlanta to 13-4. Cincinnati wins it 3-0. Eric Davis didn't play because of tightness in the left hamstring. And Bud Black wins his first game with San Francisco. He shuts out Houston 4-0. Another $10 million pitcher, just like Bud Black, earned his pay this afternoon. Zane Smith won his 2nd game of the season, beating Chicago. The lefty is now 8-2 as a Pirate to 3 Rivers and the bottom of the 4th. Bobby Bonilla grounds a single to right. Jay Bell will score, and it's 1-0 Pittsburgh. In the 6th inning, the Pirates explode for 6 runs. Andy Van Slyke skips the ball through the right side, and Gary Reedus scores. Then with the bases full, Mike LaValliere launches his first career grand slam. It's just his 12th homer and over 1,500 at-bats in the majors. Pittsburgh goes on to win it 9-3. Greg Maddux, who beat the Bucks 3 times in 1990, is tagged with the loss. Greg Jeffries had a 2-run, 2-out double. That was the difference. The Mets beat Montreal 3-1. In the first of 2, St. Louis just beat the heck out of Philadelphia 12-1. But in the nightcap, Darren Dalton's RBI single in the 10th wins it for Philadelphia. In the NBA, Utah stayed alive in the race for the Midwest crown. The Jazz lapped the Lakers and moved into a tie with San Antonio for first place in the Midwest Division. At the Salt Palace, tempers flared the 3rd quarter with LA down 22. Karl Malone shoves coach Mike Dunleavy in pursuit of Vlade Divac. He didn't get to Divac, but he did get to the Lakers. Right here, Malone cans the 15-footer in Divac's face, and the Jazz in control. Late in the 4th quarter, Lakers make a run. Eldon Campbell with the steal and jam. Lakers down just by 6. But in the end, a mailman delivers, hitting the leader in the lane for his 30th point. Utah wins it 107-93. If Utah wins on Sunday at Golden State, they will win the Midwest title by virtue of the tiebreakers over San Antonio. The season finale for Milwaukee and Indiana went to the Bucks. 2nd quarter, and Jay Humphries flies in for the layup. Milwaukee by 11. Humphrey finished the night with 20 points. Then off the inbounds, Alvin Robertson makes the steal, gets the hoop. Milwaukee goes on to win this one tonight. 133-100. Fred Roberts had 21 points. For the first time all season, the Knicks are over 500 at home. They beat Charlotte 108-102, and Mookie Blaylock poured in a career-high 27 points as the Nets beat Miami 118-103. The doctor for Lyle Alzado says the former All-Pro defensive lineman had a brain seizure Saturday afternoon. He is listed in stable condition. 3 weeks ago, the 42-year-old was diagnosed with an inoperable brain cancer. Last fall, Alzado failed in a comeback attempt with the Raiders. In horse racing, the Run for the Roses is 2 weeks away. But for the winner of the Wood Memorial, the May 4th Kentucky Derby could be out of reach. Cahill Rhodes suffered a suspensory ligament in his foreleg and will probably miss the Derby. Here's Dave Johnson with the call.
And down the stretch they come. Cahill Road on the inside, digging in front by 1. Lost Mountain on the outside in second. It's a 16th to go, and it's Cahill Road in front by 2 with Craig Perret. Cahill Road takes the Wood by 2.5. Then comes...
Hot Springs in the Arkansas Derby. Watch the horse on the outside blow by the leaders. Olympio beats Corporate Report and the favorite Richman to win the Derby by 2.5 lengths. Even with the win, Olympio is not a sure bet to be in the field at Churchill Downs in 2 weeks. Jack Nicklaus is almost a sure bet to win the 52nd PGA Seniors Championship. The Golden Bear holds a record 8-stroke lead after 3 rounds. Nicklaus led by 5 shots before Saturday's play, but saw his lead shrink to 1 over Jim Dent at the turn. On the back 9, Dent ballooned to a 42, while Jack drilled 4 birdies to take a commanding lead. Davis Love fired a 3-under par 68 to grab the lead of the Heritage Classic after 3 rounds. Ian Baker Finch followed Friday's course record 64 with a 65. He's 3 back. Bobby Clampett, Mark O'Meara, and Chip Beck are 4 off the pace. From golf to the NHL playoffs, where both series in the Wells Conference are tied at 1. Sunday night at 7 o'clock Eastern, it's Boston and Montreal. The Habs even the series with an overtime goal on Friday. Can they grab the lead with a win at the Forum? Also on Friday, Pittsburgh used an overtime goal to pull even with Washington. They dropped the puck on Game 3 at the Cap Center at 7 o'clock Eastern. Well, that'll do it for this abbreviated edition of Sports Nightly. I'm CJ Papa. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great Sunday.